Hi everybody, how's it going? Ben here from Connected Fitness, and today we are having a little Zoom call with Sophy. Hey Sophy, how's it going?
Hi, Ben.
Sophy is a Bachelor of Psychology, Master of Psychology, and a specialist in mental health and psychological therapy. But more importantly and more exciting than that is she's really down to earth and has agreed to come along to our podcast today and have a little chat with me all about her social media account, Normalize. Normalize, Sophy, tell us what it is and why you started it.
Yeah, so I started Normalize last July time, I think, maybe June, July time. And it was something that I'd been sitting on the idea for about 2.5 years. Whenever I started to study my master's in applied psychology, I really enjoyed it, and it's really good training for my future career and professional life. But what I realized more was that I was learning things that I felt so many of us should already know that we should be taught in schools. And I was learning so much stuff that was helping me in my personal life more than anything.
If you were, you said that there was like you felt like you went through your degree and almost felt shortchanged because you felt like you should have been taught some of these things
Yeah,
earlier. So tell me
yeah.
about how, like a few of those, or even one that stands out as like a, oh my goodness, I can't believe I never knew that before.
Stopping, probably, slowing down
Mm-hmm.
has been like a really big one, I think, for me. I'm naturally very da 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 da, just keep going. Like, what's next? What's next? Like, got the to do list, got to do this, got to clean the house, got to go pick that up. Just constant. Go, 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 go. And I guess learning the things that I learned, some of the things that I learned in the masters, and thinking of, I don't have anxiety, but I slip into being anxious quite quickly. I get stressed and I would get worried very easy. And then I'll just spend days just being really anxious and worried about things. And naturally, then I would just think about them and think about them. And we do this. You just sit and you chew the thoughts, and you don't really do much else with them. You just hold them in your head and be worried. And I learned that by slowing down and by doing something with those thoughts, that's when you're going to do something positive. That's when you're going to make a positive change. So I had started, I think it was probably during the masters when I started to write a little bit more in my journal. So if I was going through something pretty stressful or just something that was worrying me, I would get my notebook out and I would just write it down. Like, so I kind of call it like a brain dump. Like, I'm literally just emptying stuff onto a page. Um, I was doing it at one stage and I had this like image in my head. It felt like, it sounds kind of strange, but it felt like there was like a little IV drip in my head, and it was like coming down my arm and out the pen, and I was just writing it all out, and it felt like this real, like, just everything was coming out and it was going on the page, and then I could close the book and put it away and walk away from it. And that
Mm-hmm.
was it. That was the thoughts dealt with. Um, so that, for me, actually, now that I think about it, that's probably one of the biggest things that I learned, is doing something with your thoughts, not just
Mm-hmm.
holding your worries and your stresses and everything in your head, but actively doing something about it, because even though you don't feel like you're in control this year.
Funny. Sorry.
Yeah, no, go ahead.
Funny. My mum, um, after a few things that have happened in my personal life, my mum had
Hmm.
said about potentially going to counselling about that
Yeah.
sort of thing, and then she listened to a couple of songs that I had written, and
Hmm.
exactly what you're describing there. She said, and I think she was right. She was kind of trying. The point she was trying to make was you are doing with music what therapy it does for other people, where it is exactly that,
Yeah.
that feeling of putting down on paper exactly how you feel in that moment, and then
Yeah.
not necessarily just offloading that, but the offloading that can also be revisited later. So it's something that you can then go
Yeah.
back to and have a look at and go, you know what, that actually is something that was how I
Yeah.
felt in that moment, and now it isn't.
Yeah.
But it is. It feels good to be able to revisit those things and to look back.
Yeah. That's
So
class. And it's
is that
about,
something that's something along the lines of what you're talking about? I think.
yeah, exactly. Like, and even just as you say, it's processing it as well, and it's actually acknowledging what's happened, because,
Mm-hmm.
so much of the time we just race through life, and we just, something negative happens and you just keep going, because I guess that's kind of what the dominant view's been for a long time, is just pick yourself up and keep going. I've had conversations recently about, the it's okay to not be okay thing, and how, well, like, just conversations around that. Like, it is, but stop and acknowledge it. Like, it's not okay to just sit with it and not do anything about it, because you can do something about it. And like you say, counselling or therapy isn't for everybody. There's so many other creative outlets that you can use. Like you're saying, songwriting, me just writing in a journal, talking to friends and family, drawing, like dance, yoga. There are so many different things and that's something that recently I've been thinking a lot about. Because I guess
in your dance career.
Yes, exactly. That idea of like all of these other things that we don't think about. I was speaking to a friend recently, and she said how I was like a different kind of, when she thinks of psychologists or people who are studying psychology, you think it's people who's going to be pushing, go to therapy and go to counselling, whereas it's not all about that, and that's certainly not what I'm all about. But it's about all of these other things that we've lost over the years that our ancestors might have, like ritual things and traditions and different things within communities that have been in place, the arts, music, all of these different things that we can use to process things that have happened to us. Like there's so many things out there, but we just don't know about them. So that's a big passion of mine. And yeah, just exactly as you say, Ben, it's therapy and counselling stuff's not for everybody, but it's not all about that. Like, find what is good for you,
And I suppose, given that we are now in lockdown and spending time with other people is even more difficult, have you found any ways, in a more digital way that we can do along with the social distancing? Obviously, there's some of the ones that you mentioned there that we can do from home, but is there anything else that you can think of? Or anything that you've maybe done over the last, I know you had a great Christmas Day, for example, that you've done over the last wee while that, just sort of change it up a bit?
Yeah, well, like we had been chatting earlier about, getting outside, getting into the water. So yeah, I spent my Christmas Day, we went bodyboarding and surfboarding because we were very lucky to have the ability to do that, and the wetsuits and the boards and stuff. So we've got into the water, and that's only something that we picked up doing there, my partner and I, last July, August time. And it's been great, because when you feel stuck in that rut, when all of your routine's been taken away, which it has from all of us, you are left with, what do we do now? You have to remain distanced. There's so many things that we can't do, but there is still things that you can do. So I the past couple of years has really got me appreciating just being outside, going for a walk. I sometimes feel like I sound like a real hippie, but like I go for a walk around the uni gardens next to me, and there is always rabbits and squirrels and birds, and I just take my time to walk around, and I'm like, oh, look at the wee squirrel, and you're watching him, and it's just so simple, but it's like you're not thinking about everything else then. You're taking time to just take a breath and have a look at things around you, and like look at nature and just chill out. Other bits and pieces, like reading. I'm a big fan of reading. I've been trying to get into reading more, and so many people that I know always bang on about wanting to read more and never having the time. So it's like, well, if that's you and we're stuck in lockdown again, you've got some books, definitely get through them. Do you know what, on a side note, speaking of books, if you're not a member of the library and you love reading, you got to join the library. It is like amazing. Free books. They do audio books as well, and like you can get access to their ebooks online at the moment, so you can get the library's NI app, and it's all free, which I just think is class. I've been buying books for years.
That's amazing.
Yeah, right. It's like, definitely check it out. There's magazines and newspapers and stuff as well for that kind of stuff. What else? Gosh. Yeah, so yoga.
I know that we've spent some time over the last wee while trying to do stuff just at home, but like I've really got into cooking, so I've done like a whole lot of like where you actually get home, pour yourself a drink, open a beer, and actually spend like 2 or 3 hours cooking something really, really good.
Yeah.
And trying to do it with the phone off and the screens off, and actually just enjoy, or a bit of background music,
Yeah.
and trying to put a bit more effort into the things that we all have to do.
Yes, yeah.
Or just having, doing the crossword, or just
Yeah.
things that in everyday life that you just never spend any time actually really
Yeah.
doing. And trying to take a bit of time out away from your phone or away from your screen. And
Yeah.
I think sometimes I always feel like we have too many things, at us at once,
Yeah.
and I think culture is, the whole TikTok thing of the video only has to be, 8 seconds
Yeah.
long or I'm not interested.
Yeah.
And I'm the worst for it, where I put something on the TV and the first thing I do is take my phone out.
Yeah, I know.
And it's like, what's the point? Like, there's no,
Yeah.
I'm not even watching what's on the TV, and I'll forget what I'm looking at on my phone.
Yeah.
Do
Do you know what? That's so true. I'm actually glad you brought that up, because that's something that I recently realized. And I was listening to a podcast not so long ago, and it was talking about mindful baking. And we'll have all heard the term mindfulness, and it brings many different things up for so many different people. But actually just being present with the thing that you're doing. So just as you said about cooking, I think it was maybe New Year's Eve. We usually spend New Year's Eve having a big party with all of our friends, and obviously we weren't able to this year. So my partner, he was working during the daytime, and I was at home, and I was like, what are we going to do tonight? I was a wee bit like, oh, this is so annoying, like I want to spend time with my friends.
Yeah.
So I was like, maybe I'll go to the supermarket and cook us a nice dinner. So I must have spent maybe a couple of hours looking through different cookbooks, finding nice recipes, went and bought the stuff, and then I came back and I just put some music on, and like it was a really conscious decision, like there and then I was like, this is a task that we have to eat anyway, and I want to make nice food, so enjoy this, like take a few hours, make yourself something really tasty, like, and then we can sit down later and drink some wine and have nice food, and just kind of making, it's just kind of like I mentioned earlier on about things that we've maybe lost over the years, thinking like way far back, like our ancestors who would have like hunted and gathered food and then cooked it all together and sat around, and it would have been a real feast.
Yeah.
How often do we do things like that now? It's as quick as you can make the dinner and sit down and eat it while watching TV. You're not even thinking about what you're eating. Like, so yeah, I'm glad you brought that up, because that's something that personally I've been thinking and reflecting a lot on recently, because I'm like, gosh, we've just been whizzing through life, like slow down, and like think of the things that you're actually doing. Yeah.
We spent New Year's Eve doing a family quiz on WhatsApp.
Of course. I'm sure you were with many others. Yeah.
just me, and my brother and my sister and their families.
Brilliant.
Yeah, it was good.
Yep, we've all been into the Zoom quizzes.
Sophy, this has been really good. Thank you very much.
Thank you for having me. Yeah.
We will put all of your social media links into the footer, and people can
Lovely.
click and follow and have a little look. If you've got any final thoughts, now's the time to spew them out, and then we will close off the video.
No, yeah, thanks so much for having me. Yeah, like I'm not as active on Normalize as I would like to be. I'm still very new to. I wasn't very good with my personal Instagram. It's more like a virtual photo album for myself, so I'm a lot quieter than I'd like to be. But I'm chipping away at little bits and pieces. So do, if there's anything on there, if you think it's something that you might enjoy, can maybe follow, and yeah, hopefully you'll feel a little more normal, normalize some things for you. So yeah, thanks for having me, Ben.
You're welcome. Speak soon.